And hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of The Zone TV Movie Entertainment with me, your host Jonathan. Once again, bringing you my thoughts and brand new movie review for the brand new Disney Plus film Pinocchio, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Tom Hanks. So, Pinocchio. We all know the story of Pinocchio. The little wooden boy wanted to become a real boy, and of course, you know, he got to go through an adventure. His nose grows. We all know the story. So Pinocchio is now playing on Disney Plus. By the way, happy Disney Plus Day. You know, I will be covering whatever news drops. So I will give you my thoughts on it when they drop. Obviously, I won't be there, but if you are going to be there, you're lucky. So, D23 just started, so let's talk about Pinocchio, because honestly, you know, when Pinocchio first was announced, I was like, okay, you know, a shot-for-shot remake of the original animated movie. I enjoyed that film. You know, it's not my favorite Disney film of all time, but I do like it. You know, mine is the whole, you know, Pleasure Island scene. I always drove me nuts. I always thought that scene was a complete nightmare. Anyway, I'll get to that scene here because it's very different from what they done in the animation. So we all know the story of Pinocchio. Geppetto, you know, he makes a little wooden boy, and he wishes for it to come to life, and the blue fairy shows up, played by, and I'm probably going to butcher her last name, but I really don't remember her last name. Her name is Cynthia. I can't remember her last name. I apologize. She comes in, she brings Pinocchio to life, and basically tells him, hey, you want to be a real boy? I can make you a real boy. Unfortunately, you got to do a couple of things before you can actually become a real boy. Kind of basically being a trial, if you will, of him testing himself, being courage, bravery, and honesty. Of course, he has to have all those traits, so that way he can become a full-length boy. Basically, it's one of those kind of like, oh, you want to buy that? Why don't you try it out for a couple of days, and then we'll see how it goes, kind of deals. So that's basically what Pinocchio. Pinocchio is basically a tryout boy to become a real boy. He's got to, you know, successfully deal with certain things. Unfortunately, he gets some sidetracking in his, you know, quest to become a real boy. We get to meet Honest John, even though he's not really honest. Of course, he has all those obstacles, but he does have his conscience. His conscience is played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays Jiminy Cricket, who's just a cricket, just trying to, I guess, go by life, and he ends up getting the job of a lifetime, basically being the conscience of right and wrong for Pinocchio. He gets dubbed that, temporary, of course, as he calls it in the movie, very different from the actual animation, and his job is to basically make sure Pinocchio knows from right from wrong. Well, things go, you know, kind of crazy when Pinocchio meets Honest John, talking about how he could be famous, and we all know the story from there. He gets into trouble with Stromboni from his thing, and of course he ends up going to Pleasure Island. We all know that story, part of it, and of course he ends up finding his father inside a whale. We all know the rest of that story. So, how is this movie actually? Well, I think this movie was a lot of fun. It's not as great as the animation, but it's very different from the animation as well, and I appreciated that. I thought the animation obviously is great, but I thought, you know, they kind of made the story made sense in this one than the animation, because the animation goes by quick. If you really think about it, it kind of goes by quick. Where I feel like even at the end of the original cartoon, spoilers, the ending of that one, he becomes a real boy, like kind of quickly. He gets into trouble, and I don't think he comprehends what he does. But in this film, you actually get to see Pinocchio go through those trials and actually have, you know, feelings towards each consequence that he does, and he feels bad, and he feels emotion, and he feels all that, and I thought that was very cool of them doing it. Because even in the, you know, here's some spoilers for the animation. If you've never seen the animation, I apologize. You know, in the animation, when he gets locked up in a cage, it's also in this movie too, so I'm not to spoiler. He gets locked up in a cage, and the blue fairy comes out and helps him. However, in this movie, it's very different. You actually see him trying to figure out himself and how to get himself out of that situation and know what was right and what was wrong, what he did. He actually ends up, you know, when he goes to meet Stromboli in this movie, he actually meets a young girl who's also in this kind of in the same predicament as Pinocchio, kind of trapped, kind of lost in a way, and Stromboli kind of uses her for his puppets, I thought that worked pretty well. The whale stuff was okay. I don't really care for that stuff. Um, Tom Hanks as Geppetto obviously is great. Not enough role, not enough screen time, but it's Tom Hanks. Who cares? It's always great. Like I said, I thought this movie really worked. It did, to me, did things that the animated movie never did, and it gave us a compelling story about Pinocchio. It actually made it more better. So I enjoyed it. So leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about this. Are you guys excited for Pinocchio? Are you guys not excited for it? Are you guys gonna watch on Disney Plus? Did you guys thought it was gonna go to theaters? Because honestly, I thought it was, but it's not. It's in Disney Plus. So give it a shot. It's an okay film. It ain't the original. Obviously, whenever it will be. Is it better? Some scenes. Oh, even that whole Pleasure Island scene. Let me get to that for a minute. The whole Pleasure Island scene. Now, in the animated one, obviously, back in those days, they can get away with the animation, smoking, drinking beers. Obviously, back in that day, they got away with a lot of that stuff. I don't know how, but they did. This one is very different. The Pleasure Island here is very, kind of what naughty kids will be doing, in today's society, eating a lot of junk food, not listening to their parents, and all that yada 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 stuff. So I thought that stuff was really cool, creepy as heck. Not as dark as the actual animated one, but still very creepy in its own right. So yeah. I thought this movie was pretty fun, but it's there. So give it a shot and see what you think. So leave me a comment below. Let me know. Thank you very much, and have a good day.